Om Shri Sai Ram, offering my most humble pranams at Bhagwan's divine lotus feet. Loving Sai Rams to one and all. Welcome to another episode on the divine message to Mahilas and Bal Vikas Gurus. Let's take up the 5 teaching techniques used in Bal Vikas class one by one and understand the importance of each one of these teaching techniques. If you can recollect, it was mentioned in a previous episode. So, what are the teaching techniques used in Sri Satya Sai Bal Vikas? Silent sitting, prayers, group singing, storytelling, and group activities, right? So, silent sitting is a precursor to meditation. Prayers are mostly chanting of shlokas. Group singing includes bhajans and value songs. Storytelling and group activities are okay, but do children really need to meditate, pray, and sing bhajans? That too, in their age of play and study. Do you feel that it's too early, it's too soon for children to learn all these things, as they have their entire life to meditate, chant, or sing bhajans? In the 7th verse of Bhaja Govindam, Adi Shankara says, Balastavat Kridasataha Tarunastavat Tarunisataha Vriddhastavat Chintamagnaha Parame Brahmani Kopena Sattaha. Childhood skips off in playfulness. Youth is lost in attachment to woman. As one grows older, man is drowned in worries about his security and the future of his wife and children. Old age is spent in anxiety, brooding over many past incidents. At no stage does man find time to lift his thoughts towards God. A child must play, a young man must earn and raise a family and obtain wealth by honest means. But one must also find some time early in life to begin the Godward journey, so that when we are in our old age, the avoidable worry about our worldly possessions don't rob us of our composure and peace of mind. So the solution given by Swami is Balastavad, instead of Krida Saktaha, Bal Vikas Saktaha. Spend your childhood in Bal Vikas. Tarunastavad, Seva Saktaha. Spend your youth in service activities. Vriddhastavad Satsange Sattaha. Spend your old age in satsang. Parame Brahmani Sarvada Sattaha. Then you'll always be absorbed in God. Instead of chinta, we need to do chintana. That is, contemplate on God. But the question is, would it be too soon to be in the spiritual path at a tender age? Swami narrates a Chinna Katha titled, It is Never Too Soon in the Spiritual Realm. There was once a miser who lived in a leaky house. The rainwater poured into the house through the roof, but he sat through it all. The neighbors made fun of him. They also warned him to get the roof repaired. In the rainy season, he would say, Let the rains subside. How can I repair it now? And when the rain stopped, he would say, Why should I worry about the leaks? Now the rains have anyway stopped. Swami says, Do not suffer the leaks when the rains come, as they are sure to come. Repair the roof now itself. That is to say, acquaint yourselves with the spiritual primers and textbooks now itself. Begin the first lesson of silence, prayer, and chanting the name of the Lord. It is never too soon in the spiritual realm. Does spirituality mean that we are going to become a celibate or a renunciant? No, spirituality doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean to shun the society or run to the forest. It actually encourages man to serve the society, discharging one's duties rightfully as a householder. Earlier, when disciples completed their education in Gurukula, they would return homes and enter the Grihasthashram. In fact, Swami himself conducted the marriages of thousands of devotees. Marriage or Vivaha Samskar is one of the Shodasha Samskaras ordained in the Sanatana Dharma. And we are going to teach all these to Bal Vikas children so that they may evolve to become responsible citizens of the country. So let's embark on this sacred journey with the first step, silent sitting. One of the most important teaching techniques which is going to mold the personality of children as well as Bal Vikas Gurus and Samiti members. And this is to be used in the beginning of the Bal Vikas class. The children will be instructed to sit silently in the right posture with their eyes closed for 1 or 2 minutes. The main objective of using this technique is that usually children are very active. Their mind is easily distracted. It streams in all directions. So silent sitting is an effective technique that can bring such a mind under control, because Swami says our mind is like a monkey, not just an ordinary monkey, but a mad monkey. Not only mad, but also drunk. Not even that, it's also bitten by a scorpion. To train such a monkey mind, silence is a weapon. So practicing silence is significant both from the physical and mental aspects. It's beneficial from the social as well as spiritual angles also. A Chinna Katha on silence emphasizes its power and potential for spiritual growth. One such story tells of a monk who encounters a group of atheists. They challenge him to prove God's existence. The monk, instead of arguing, asks for milk and then contemplates it. He explains that while butter is within, it requires a process to be revealed. Similarly, God is within everything, but realizing this requires introspection and contemplation, often facilitated by silence. Swami says, silence is not merely the absence of speech, but a space for self-reflection and for recognizing the divine. It's a tool for understanding, for connecting with one's own inner self, and for recognizing the interconnectedness of all things. But before asking the children to sit in silence, let's ask ourselves, are we, as Bal Vikas Gurus, practicing silence? If the answer is no, then be assured that you won't be able to induce silence in children. Only when we practice silence, we'll get the eligibility, the certificate from Bhagwan to teach silent sitting to children. Swami says, silence is the first step in sadhana. The sadhana we need to adopt is the cultivation of inner silence to put an end to the endless dialogue within the mind. Let the mind rest for a while. We need to begin right from today itself to set aside 5 to 10 minutes to sit in silence every day, preferably in the morning before hopping on to the day-to-day activities, or at least in the evening. But make sure that you do silent sitting or meditation at the same time every day. Because Swami says, if you ring a bell and feed a hungry dog for a few days, say for example at 12 o'clock, then after some days, even if you don't ring the bell, the dog automatically comes to you exactly at 12 p.m. If DOG dog responds to time, why not GOD God? So we need to learn the lesson of punctuality from the dog. Right. So what do we do in silence? We can do japam or dhyana or watch our own thoughts. Why should we watch our thoughts? because thought is a spark of energy. We get hundreds of thoughts every minute. Just imagine how much of energies you'll be wasting in just thinking. Time is wasted when we simply sit in wishful thinking. A child sits for hours together in front of a book, simply thinking and blinking. The body is in front of the book, but the mind is somewhere else and it's wandering in the streets. Silent sitting is a technique to steady the roaming mind, reduce its thoughts, and increase concentration. Maunam sarvatra sadhanam. Concentration of mind is essential to achieve any task. In silence, the mind can easily concentrate on the work at hand. Swami compares the mind to a piece of cloth. Cloth is nothing but a bundle of threads. These threads are compared to our thoughts. If the threads are all removed, there will be no cloth left. In the same way, the control of speech and the removal of thoughts will help to subdue the mind. Swami would create a diamond ring and say, Die mind. When the mind dies, there will be no thoughts. It is a state of supreme silence. Swami says, no thoughts is symbolic of a pure mind. In the depth of silence, we can hear the footsteps of God, the voice of God, which is nothing but our own inner voice. The silence is the silence we need. When we sit quietly for a few minutes or more, our senses attain stillness and the mind can be directed towards God. This is the best way to connect ourselves with our indwelling divinity. We have many pearls of wisdom that speak about the glory of silence. Speech is silver, silence is golden. Speech is bound by time, whereas silence is timeless and eternal. Swami says, talk less, work more. Now, how does talking less help us to work more? Swami compares our bodies to a radio. Radio, when turned on continuously, gets discharged of its battery. So too, we lose energy by excessive talking, continuous chattering, and these days we can compare it to mobile phones. So silent sitting saves our energy for productive purposes. Swami narrates the experience of Swami Vivekananda, who learned a valuable lesson when he found that after 10 days of endless talk, he had forgotten all the shlokas he had learned by heart. By practicing complete silence for a fortnight, he regained his memory powers. Silence also helps control stress. It strengthens the nerves and helps us remain focused. More on silence as sadhana in our next episode. Thank you all. Jai Sai Ram.